Here is our first class on the topic set theory, and set theory is a very important topic for the students of class 11 and 12. So let's see which are the topic we are going to cover today. Number 1, set and its element. Number 2, the two important words which are used to describe a set, that is well defined and distinct. Number 3, use of the symbol belongs to and doesn't belong to. Number 4, representation of sets. There are two methods, that is roster method and set builder method. Number 5, types of set. Here we are going to discuss null set, singleton set, finite and infinite set, set of sets, subsets and its properties, proper subset, superset, power set, equal set, comparable set, and lastly, cardinality of a set and the use of the symbol aleph null. So probably aleph null is an uncommon symbol to the students of class 11-12. So let us discuss the topics. So let's start with the definition of a set. A set is a well-defined collection of distinct objects, and each object is called an element or a member of the set. Sets are generally denoted by capital letters for capital A, capital B, X, S, T, like this. And the elements are denoted by small letter, that is small a, small b, x, y, z, t, etc. Now the question is, there are two important words which are used to describe a set. They are well defined and distinct. Now let's see what is meant by well defined. By well defined, we mean that each object of a set must satisfy a property or some properties by which we can say that if we are given an object, whether this particular object will go in a particular set or not. For example, if we say that a set of pens, that means every element of the set are satisfying the property that they are pens. So if we are given a pencil, the pencil must not belong to the set. Here. Now well defined also has another meaning, like that the property must be very clear to everyone. That is, property shouldn't be ambiguous. For example, if we say that the set of good cricketers of India, so there is no any particular definition, there is no any concrete definition which will define a good cricketer. So the set of good cricketers of India is not a set. But if we say that the set of one day players of India, there is a particular definition, those players who have played one day for Indian national cricket team. So it's a set. Clear? So well defined means it should be a property which is very much clear to everyone and there is no scope of ambiguity. Clear? Now next important word is distinct, and distinct means each object can occur once and only once in a set. For example, if we are to form the set of all letters of the word committee, we know that the spelling is COMMITTE. So you can count there are 9 letters, but the set will contain only 6 letters, COMITE. So remember that every set is a collection, but every collection is not a set. If every object of the collection has a common property or more than one common properties, only then we can call a collection is a set. Now if A is an element of a set A, that is A means small, that is an element of a set, capital A, that means it's set, then we write like this: A belongs to A. and if not, that is A is not an element of set A, then we write like this: A doesn't belong to A. Now we shall discuss the representation of sets. There are two methods of representation of a set. Number one, roster method or tabular form, and number two, set builder method. This is also called property method. Now roster method, in this method the elements of a set are separated by commas and are enclosed within braces. That is what is a second bracket, it's called actually braces. Let A be the set of vowels, then we write like this: A equals to, we start a brace, then A, comma E, comma I, comma O, comma U, then we close the brace. Next is set builder form or property method. In this method, the elements of a set are specified by stating the property which the element of the set must satisfy. And in roster method, in set builder method, we write like this: X such that X has the property Px. Or X oblique X has the property Px. Now see that both symbol is do and oblique, both are read as such that. So ultimately whatever may be the symbol, we read like this: X such that X has the property Px. Now let's see some sets which are described by using a set builder method. Let us consider the set 1, -1, I and -I, where I equals to root of -1. So here we can say that this set is equal to X such that X to the power 4 equals to 1. And you can see that each of the number 1 to the power 4, -1 to the power 4, I to the power 4, even -I to the power 4, all to the power 4 will gives you 1. So they are the actually roots of the equation X to the power 4 equals to 1. Even if we say that another set X such that X cube equals to 1. So this set actually implies 1 omega square. Even we can say that infinite set like X such that X belongs to N, that is X is a natural number. So this set is 1, 2, 3 dot up to infinity. Now we shall discuss different types of set. Number 1, null set. A set containing no element in it is called a null set or a void set or an empty set. It is denoted by phi. So for example, if we say that X such that X is a perfect square lying between 27 and 35. So we don't know there is not any perfect square which is lying between 27 and 35, so it's a null set. For example, if we say that the set of people who can work more than 24 hours a day, no people clearly, so it's a null set. Next, singleton set. The set containing exactly one element in it is called a singleton set. Third, finite and infinite set. A set containing finite number of elements is called a finite set, and a set containing infinite number of elements is called an infinite set. Here if you say that the set of vowels, there are 5 elements, finite set. The set of consonants, 21 elements, finite set. But if you say that the set of natural number, so infinite elements are there. So we can say that they are infinite set. The set of natural number, the set of integers, all of them are infinite set. The set of stars in the sky, infinite set. Next, set of set. If a set is such that its elements are itself sets, then we say that the set is a set of set. For example, if we say that I am writing on the plane, that is a board. So it's a plane. Let us suppose it's a plane. So what we can say that a plane is a set of straight line, while every straight line is a set of points. So what we can say that a plane is a set of straight line, while every straight line is a set of points. So we say that a plane is a set of sets. Now let's see what is a subset. If you take A equals to 1, 2 and B equals to 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, then you can say that every element of set A is an element of set B. So we say that A is a subset of B. So here we discuss the definition subset. If every element of set A is an element of set B, then A is called a subset of B. Again I am telling, if every element of set A is an element of set B, then A is called a subset of B. This is denoted by A, this symbol, this is called an inclusion symbol B, and read as A is contained in B, or you can write B inclusion symbol A, this is read as B contains A. So this symbol is called inclusion symbol, and see that the larger set is always placed at the open end of the inclusion symbol. Now there are some important theorem based on the definition of subset. Now see that number 1, every set is a subset of itself. Clear? Every set is a subset of itself. So for the proof we can say that if we consider any set A, let A be any set, and X is some element of A. So what we can write, X belongs to A, and this implies that X belongs to A. X belongs to A implies that X belongs to A. So every element of set A is an element of set A. Therefore what we can say that A is contained in A. So this proves that A is a subset of A. That means every set is a subset of itself. Number 2, null set is a subset of every set. So to prove this one, let us take any set A. Let A be any set, and we start with the opposite. Let A be any set, and phi is not a subset of A. Clear? So if phi is not a subset of A, then there exist at least one element in phi which is not in A. So if phi is not a subset of A, then there exist at least one element in phi which is not in A, and we know that it is a contradiction according to the definition of phi. So if we consider phi is not a subset of A, it will create a contradiction to the definition of phi. Therefore, phi is a subset of A, and since A is any general set, so we can say that phi is a subset of every set. Therefore, phi is a subset of every set, or null set is a subset of every set. Next, if a set has n elements, then total number of possible subset is 2 to the power n. So let us consider a set A whose elements are A1, A2, A3 up to An. So when we are choosing a subset, out of n elements we can choose 0 element to form null set. Out of n elements we can choose one element in NC1 ways to form a singleton set. By this way we can choose NC2 elements, then NCn elements. So that is the number of all possible. Their sum is the number of all possible subsets. Now see that we know that NC0, NC1 plus up to NCn equals to 2 to the power n, that is the sum of all binomial coefficient. This is obtained by using the binomial expansion. If we write x plus y to the power n, then the expansion is NC0 x to the power n y to the power 0, then NC1 x to the power n minus 1 y to the power 1. By this way it goes up to NCn x to the power 0 y to the power n. Now if we put x equals to y equals to 1, so LHS is 1 plus 1 to the power n, that is 2 to the power n, equals to NC0. Now see that whatever may be the power of x and y, since these values are 1 and 1 respectively, so all xy to the power n are 1. That is x to the power n, y to the power 0 is 1, x to the power n minus 1, y to the power 1 is 1. So all of them are 1. So here we are getting only the remaining binomial coefficients, NC2 plus NCn. This shows that the sum of all binomial coefficient is 2 to the power n. Hence the total number of possible subset is also 2 to the power n. Next is proper subset. If A is a subset of B, but A is not equals to B, that means A is a subset of B and B has some more elements which are other than A, then we say that A is a proper subset of B. This is denoted by A is a proper subset of B, or A is contained in B. If A is a proper subset of B, then B is called the superset of A. Next definition is power set. The set formed by taking all possible subset of a set A is called the power set of A. This is denoted by PA. It is similar like we used to denote the probability of A also by same symbol, but in abstract algebra, that in set theory, PA denotes the power set of A. Now we see that if we take any set A equals to 1, 2, 3, so its power set contains the element phi. We know that null set is a subset of every set. Then the singleton set 1, 2 and 3. Then 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3. And lastly the set itself, that is 1, 2, 3. So we can see that there are 8 elements which is equal to 2 to the power 3, as the set has 3 elements and its power set is having 2 to the power 3 elements. And our next definition is the definition of equal sets. Now see that here is a set. We are taking two sets are said to be equal if each of them can be considered as a subset of others. Clear? A is a subset of B as well as B is a subset of A. Then we say that A is equal to B. Now here we have taken an example. A is 1, 2, 3 are the three elements. B has the same three elements but listed in different order. Then we say that A equals to B. So elements are same, that means the sets are equal. So in set, the order of listing of element is not important. Remember, again I am telling you, in a set the order of listing of element is not important. Now here is the definition of comparable sets. Two sets X and Y are said to be comparable if either X is contained in Y or Y is contained in X. Clear? So if X is a subset of Y or Y is a subset of X, then the two sets X and Y are said to be comparable. Next is the definition of cardinal number. The number of elements present in a set is called the cardinal number of the set. The cardinal number of set A is denoted by NA, and if we consider, let A be the set of consonants, we know that there are 21 consonants. So we write like this: NA equals to 21. Similarly, N phi, that is cardinal number of null set, is 0. Since null set has no elements, so its cardinality is 0. Now we have already seen that what is cardinal number. That is, if any set has finite number of elements, then it has a cardinal number which is a natural number. Clear? For a set having finite number of elements has a cardinal number which is a natural number. Now the question is that what are the cardinal numbers of the infinite sets? So before discussing this, what are the cardinal number of an infinite set, let's see what is a infinite sets. There are two types of infinite sets. One is called infinitely countable and other is called infinitely uncountable. So to see that what is infinitely countable, we first discuss what is a countability. Let us suppose in a bookshelf, I am considering like a bookshelf, there are some books and someone is asked to count how many books are there. So he is counting like this: book number 1, book number 2, book number 3 and so on. So practically what he is doing, he is associating the set of natural number with the set of objects. Clear? So for a set of objects, if we say that the set of natural number can be associated with the set of objects, then the set of objects is countable, otherwise not. Clear? For example, if we say that the number of stars in the sky, although there are infinite number of stars, but we can start counting by the way marking a particular star by star number 1, then another star by star number 2 and so on. The counting will go up to infinity. But we know that the set of natural number can be associated with the set of stars. So set of stars are although infinite, but they are countable. But if we consider a set of temperature, let us suppose temperature has raised from 3 to 10 degrees Celsius, and we are asked the question, what are the possible values of temperature? So it can be 3.01, it can be 3.001, it can be 3.00235, and so on. So although temperature has raised from 3 to 10 degrees Celsius, there are infinitely many values of temperature, and these possible values of temperature cannot be associated with the set of natural number. So although they are infinite, they are uncountable also. So there are two types of infinite set. One is infinitely countable and other is infinitely uncountable. Now see that if we consider the set of natural number, that is 1, 2, 3 dot dot dot, it goes up to infinity. Clear? So we consider that the cardinality of the set of natural number, this is also denoted by a mod sign, that means the cardinality of the set of natural number, this cardinality is called Aleph null. Clear? This cardinality of the set of natural number is called Aleph null. Clear? So if any set has cardinality which is less than an Aleph null, then we say that the set is finite. Clear? And the set of natural number whose cardinality, the set of natural number has cardinality equal to Aleph null, and if any set has cardinality greater than Aleph null, then we say that the set is infinite. So the set has infinity as their cardinality. So there are three types of cardinality: less than Aleph null, equal to Aleph null, or greater than Aleph null. So less than Aleph null is finite, then this one is exactly called Aleph null, and greater than Aleph null is infinite. In the next class we shall consider some question which is based on today's theory.